Since it's almost Halloween, I thought this would be appropriate. Hi, I'm Mike. Welcome to my shop in South Texas. We had a sighting of a UFO landing in South Texas. So that means there's some aliens in South Texas. So, what do you think we should do about the aliens? Let's get them out of here. Use a pair of dividers, just describe a circle, see how big of a piece I can get out of this. And then I just flip it over and use a 12-inch template that I made to saw it out on the bandsaw. I'm mounted on the lathe with a one-way screw chuck. Roughing it out gets really boring, so I speed it up. Right about here is where I wished I'd have did a better job of balancing this piece on the bandsaw and the chainsaw before I put it on the lathe. I form a tenon so that I can mount it in the chuck. Then I flip it around, put it in the chuck, and start getting the initial shape. This piece of M is pretty much dry and really hard. Anyone that's turned green M can tell you that it smells like a wet dog when you're turning it. There's no smell to this hardly at all. This part is the top of the flying saucer where the lid's going to be. So I'm going to turn it down and then I'm going to form a tenon so that I can chuck it up later. I part off what will be the lid with a thin parting tool and a thin back saw. And I just continue refining the shape. I start hollowing it out with an assortment of tools, including my homemade undercut scraper, Jordan swan neck tools, and several Sorby scrapers. Several cracks have opened up as the pressure was released when the wood was removed. So I'm going to mix up some epoxy and key shavings and just fill in the cracks. That should take care of it. Here's some pictures of the globbed on epoxy. Mount the lid in the chuck and I start hollowing it out. form a recess with a Bedan tool so I can reverse chuck the lid. I check to make sure the lid fits the bottom, and then I sand the inside of the lid before I reverse chuck it. I reverse the lid and start working on the shape. Use a 1/2-inch skew as a scraper, helps smooth out some of the little ribs. And I power sand it through 600 grit. Trying to jam check to hold the flying saucer while I clean up the bottom. Found some smaller cracks on the bottom, so I'm going to use an artist charcoal stick along with some thin CA glue to fill in these cracks. I power sand the repaired cracks with the lathe off. Clean up the little nub on the bottom of the skew after I remove the tailstock. Comes off the jam chuck with a couple of little pops. Use a 3/4 inch skew to turn an oversized finial out of some Texas ebony I had laying around. And sand it through all the grits. I use a parting tool to get the tenon size to fit the hole in the lid. Part it off with the thin parting tool. For the landing gear, I turned 4 little spindles from some scrap mahogany. And yeah, I forgot to press record. And then I set up my drill press table to 30 degrees to drill the 4 holes for the landing gear. Then I glued up the finial and the spindles to the ship using 5-minute epoxy. Then I put a coat of sanding sealer on and then sanded that back with 4/0 steel wool. And then I put 1 coat of teak oil on so far. I'd like to thank everyone that has subscribed to my channel. You're very much appreciated. And thank you for watching.